Have you ever met a complete stranger, but felt like you'd known them your entire life? Like there was this instant recognition, this pull you couldn't explain? Or maybe someone walked into your world for just a moment, but left a mark that never ever faded. I'm going to tell you something you might not be ready to believe. Nobody comes into your life by accident. Not one person. Every encounter, every touch, every heart that has crossed your path carries a message. That person who broke you, they were meant to find you. That stranger who changed everything with just one conversation, your soul called them in. That love that felt too deep, too fast, too overwhelming, it was never random. You've been wondering why certain people feel so familiar, haven't you? Why some connections cut so deep, why some goodbyes hurt in places you didn't know existed. Today, we're going to uncover the truth about these sacred encounters, because your heart already knows what your mind is afraid to accept. You've loved someone so deeply, your soul felt complete, only to watch them walk away without explanation, without closure, without a backward glance. And you stood there wondering what you did wrong, what you could have done differently, why someone who felt like home could just disappear. You've ached for someone who was never really yours to begin with, someone who touched your life so briefly, yet you think about them years later. You wonder where they are, what they're doing, if they ever think of you too. It feels crazy, doesn't it? Mourning someone who was never meant to stay. You've met someone who wasn't meant for romance, wasn't meant to be kept, but they shifted something fundamental inside you. Maybe it was a teacher, a stranger on a plane, someone you worked with for just a few months. They saw you in a way no one else had. They believed in something you'd forgotten about yourself. They challenged you, awakened you, then moved on with their life like it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing to you. It changed everything. Here's what I need you to understand. That wasn't coincidence. That wasn't random timing or being in the wrong place at the wrong time. That was destiny. That was soul arrangement. Before you were born, before you took your first breath, your soul made agreements. Sacred contracts with other souls about who would find you, when they would arrive, and what they would awaken in you. Every person who has ever made your heart skip a beat, who has ever made you question everything you thought you knew about yourself, who has ever broken you open just enough for the light to get in. They were sent to you. Before you were born, before you took your first breath in this world, your soul sat in council with other souls, and together you made agreements. Sacred contracts about who would find you in this lifetime, who would love you, who would break your heart, who would leave you, and yes, even who would betray you. This isn't punishment. This isn't cosmic cruelty. This is curriculum. Your soul chose these experiences because it knew what you needed to grow, to remember, to become who you really are. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, but everyone who enters was invited by your soul. That person who hurt you so deeply you thought you'd never recover, your soul called them in. That love that felt like coming home but ended in goodbye, you both agreed to that dance before you ever met. They come to awaken parts of you that have been sleeping, parts you forgot existed, parts you didn't know you needed. Think of it like this. Imagine your soul wrote a symphony before you were born. A beautiful, complex piece of music that tells the story of who you're meant to become. Every person who touches your life is a note in that symphony. Some notes are gentle, some are jarring, some are brief, others sustained for measures. But every single note is necessary for the song to be complete. The person who broke you, they played their note perfectly. The one who loved you, they hit their crescendo exactly when your soul needed it. Now, let me tell you about the 3 types of destined encounters your soul arranged. The first is the awakener. They arrive in a moment of brilliance. One look across a crowded room, and something ancient stirs in your chest. One conversation, and suddenly you remember dreams you'd buried. One touch, and you realize you've been sleepwalking through your life. Maybe it was a stranger who sat next to you on a plane and asked you one simple question that changed everything. Maybe it was someone you met at a conference who saw something in you that no one else had ever noticed. Maybe it was a brief romance that burned so bright and fast it left you dizzy. They don't stay. That's not their purpose. Their purpose is ignition. They come to light the first flame in your soul, to show you that there's more to life than what you've been settling for. To prove that magic is real, that passion is possible, that you are capable of feeling things you didn't know existed. You might spend years trying to find them again, trying to recreate that feeling with someone else. But you're missing the point. They weren't meant to be your destination. They were meant to be your beginning. They are the spark. They come to start your journey back to yourself, to wake up the parts of you that have been dormant, to remind you that you are not ordinary, that your life is not meant to be small, that your heart was built for extraordinary things. The second type is the mirror. And this one is going to sting. This is the person who hurt you the most, the one you blame, the one you can't forgive, the one whose name still makes your chest tighten years later. The one who lied to you, betrayed you, abandoned you when you needed them most. The one who triggered every insecurity you didn't even know you had. You've spent so much energy hating them, haven't you? Replaying conversations, imagining what you should have said, wondering how someone could be so cruel, so selfish, so completely heartless. But here's the truth that will set you free. They are a mirror. They came to reflect back to you the parts of yourself that are crying out for healing, that rage you feel toward them. It's pointing to where you abandon yourself. That jealousy, it's showing you where you don't feel worthy. That betrayal, it's highlighting where you don't trust your own intuition. Every wound they opened was already there, waiting. They didn't create your pain, they revealed it. They brought it to the surface so you could finally see it, feel it, and heal it. They didn't come to destroy you. They came to show you exactly where you need to love yourself back to wholeness. They are your greatest teacher disguised as your greatest enemy. The person who hurt you the most is actually the one your soul trusted the most to deliver the lesson you needed most. And then there's the third type, the companion. These are the ones that really break your heart, because they feel like home. These are the people who come and stay for a while. Months, years, sometimes decades. They teach you about love, about trust, about vulnerability. They hold your hand through the dark times and celebrate your victories. They become woven into the fabric of your daily life. You build dreams together. You plan futures. You create routines and inside jokes and shared memories. You think you've found your person, your tribe, your forever. And for a while, maybe you have. But then something shifts. Maybe it's gradual, like a slow drift apart. Maybe it's sudden, like a door slamming shut. The friendship fades, the marriage ends, the partnership dissolves. The person who once knew you better than anyone becomes a stranger, and you're left wondering what went wrong. Was it something you said? Something you didn't do? Were you not enough? Did you ask for too much? The questions torture you because this person wasn't supposed to leave. They were supposed to be your always. But here's what your soul knows that your heart hasn't accepted yet. They weren't meant to be forever. They were meant to be a bridge, a transition to bring you closer to who you really are. They came to love you through a particular chapter of growth, to be your witness, your support, your safe harbor, while you learned the lessons you needed to learn. And when those lessons were complete, when you had grown into the next version of yourself, their work was done. It doesn't mean the love wasn't real. It doesn't mean they didn't matter. It means they served their sacred purpose perfectly. They loved you exactly as long as you needed to be loved in that particular way. They aren't your home. They are the path that leads you home to yourself. They came to show you what love feels like so you would recognize it when you find it within yourself. They came to teach you about connection so you would know how to connect with your own soul. Every companion who has walked away from your life has actually walked you closer to your truth. They were never meant to complete you. They were meant to prepare you for the moment when you realize you were already complete. So why do the people who matter most always seem to leave? Why does the deepest love, the strongest connection, the person who feels like your other half, always walk away? Because they've completed their role in the soul contract. I know that sounds cold, calculated, like love is just some cosmic business transaction. But stay with me here. This is actually the most beautiful truth you'll ever hear. Not every deep love is destined to go the distance. Sometimes love is destined to end, to break you open just enough for a new version of yourself to emerge. Sometimes the most profound connection isn't meant to be your forever. It's meant to be your catalyst. That person who loved you like no one else ever has, who saw straight into your soul, who made you feel alive in ways you didn't know were possible. They came to show you what you're capable of feeling, what you're worthy of receiving, what exists when you allow yourself to be truly seen. And then they left to force you to find that same depth, that same aliveness, that same worthiness within yourself. The pain you're carrying right now, the heartbreak that feels like it might actually kill you, the emptiness where they used to be, that might be the key to your awakening. That crack in your heart might be exactly where the light gets in. You see, your soul didn't choose comfort. It chose growth. And sometimes growth requires loss. Sometimes expansion requires breaking. Sometimes finding yourself requires losing someone else first. You weren't abandoned. You were awakened. You weren't left behind. You were being prepared for what's coming next. That devastating goodbye wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of your return to yourself. The person who broke your heart didn't break you. They broke you open. There's a difference. One destroys you. The other reveals the unbreakable light that was always inside you, waiting to be discovered. So when someone you love walks away, when your heart feels shattered and your world feels empty, what do you do with that pain? Let me share something that changed everything for me. There are 3 sacred steps your soul is asking you to take. First, don't try to hold on to them. Hold on to what they awakened in you instead. That person. They weren't meant to stay forever. They were meant to crack you open, to show you parts of yourself you'd forgotten existed. The love you felt for them, that's not gone. It's just redirected back to where it was always supposed to flow. Back to you. Second, ask yourself this one question. What part of me was awakened through this encounter? Maybe they showed you how deeply you could love. Maybe they revealed your strength when everything fell apart. Maybe they taught you that you're worthy of something real, even if it wasn't with them. Every person who touches your soul leaves a gift, even the ones who break your heart. And third, this might be the hardest one. Be grateful. Yes, even for the ones who left you in pieces. Because here's what I've learned. The people who shatter us, they're not destroying us. They're cracking us open so our light can finally get out. When you look back at every encounter through the eyes of your soul, you'll see it. Nothing was wrong. No one was extra. Everyone who came exactly when your spirit called them. And here's the truth that will shift everything. Your soul already knew this was going to happen. Every person you've ever met, the ones who stayed, the ones who left, the ones who loved you, the ones who broke you, they're all part of your journey home. Home to who you really are beneath all the stories, all the pain, all the searching. You haven't been abandoned. You've been guided. Every heartbreak, every unexpected goodbye, every moment when you thought you couldn't go on, those weren't punishments. Those were redirections. Your soul orchestrating exactly what you needed to remember your own power. And if you're hurting right now, if someone just walked away and left you wondering why. Listen to me. Your soul chose this lesson, not to hurt you, but to wake you up. Not to punish you, but to remind you of who you truly are underneath all that fear. You came here knowing you would love deeply and lose deeply. You came here knowing some people would only stay for a season, a moment, a breath. But you chose it anyway, because your soul knew that every encounter would carve you deeper, make you more real, more awake, more alive. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're not lost. You're being found. And everyone who has ever touched your life, they were part of bringing you back to yourself. So remember this. That person may have walked away, but the transformation they awakened in you, that lives forever. It's woven into who you are now. It's part of your story, your strength, your capacity to love even deeper. There are no endings, only homecomings. If there's someone who changed you forever, someone who broke you open or put you back together, share their story below. Not their name, just what they awakened in you. We're all remembering together, the sacred arrangement of souls finding each other exactly when they're meant to. Because here's what I know for certain. Not everyone comes to stay, but everyone who comes by destiny.